called The Pursuers. Our job is to keep 7,000 miles of London streets from becoming a cement jungle. My sidekick is Special. He's a police dog. I'm a Scotland Yard inspector. The name's Bollinger, John Bollinger.
News of the prison break was relayed to the yard, and we arrived 20 minutes after Robert Lucas had made his escape. Watching my dog constantly lose the prisoner's scent meant one of two things. Either Lucas had been picked up by prearrangement, or he had jumped into a passing car. But based on an earlier conversation with his cellmate, I had a pretty good idea where he wanted to go. He would head for Colonel Barrett. I asked Steve to telephone the colonel and tell him Lucas had escaped, and that I would be arriving at his home as quickly as I could cover the 90 miles to Hayward. On the way up, I pieced together what I knew of both men. Robert Lucas was young, and his life had been checkered and tragic. An orphan by the time he was 4, he first brushed against the law at the age of 10. 8 months ago, he had been sentenced for stealing a ruby clip and 50 pounds from his employer, Colonel Clyde Barrett. I had been reading about Barrett for years. He was a big game hunter and the author of several books on wild animal life. Approaching the gates to the colonel's house, I thought he was either very shy or he liked privacy. The moment after I announced myself, I heard Colonel Barrett's voice. When he said he'd throw the switch because the gates were electrically controlled, I knew the colonel wasn't shy. Like a medieval open sesame, the gate swung open. It was apparent the colonel wanted privacy at any cost. I told the driver to wait, and we entered the sanctum of the game hunter.
Lucas is a complete mystery to me. When he was on parole, I gave him a home and a job. I thought he was happy. I even thought he was changing. And he repays me by stealing money and a ruby clip.
I know, I read his case history.
If the insurance company hadn't prosecuted, well, I would have just dismissed him and forgotten the entire affair. But unfortunately, the clip was a very old one and very costly. The company wouldn't let go. What now makes him so important as to warrant a Scotland Yard inspector?
It's not unusual. He's an escaped convict.
I see. Why have you come here?
Because here I expect to find him.
What earthly reason would he have for returning to Hayward?
A very good one. Revenge.
You're not serious.
I'm not trying to be humorous.
But that's ridiculous.
Why?
Well, I once faced a charging rhino. He weighed 4,800 pounds. His head now rests in Nairobi Museum. Soaking wet, Bobby Lucas wouldn't go 160.
If he's armed, he can hit you faster than a charging rhino.
Mm-hmm. But you don't expect me to run, do you?
That I don't want you to do. But if he should turn up, use this. Mm-hmm. I'll be in Sergeant Abbott's office. Oh, one more thing, Colonel. Keep your gates locked, too. There was no doubt he had his privacy. And as I was leaving, it suddenly occurred to me that it would be just as difficult for Lucas to get in as it had been for me.